Everyone, Phi Farley here, Week 13, college football. I got a best bet coming to you here. 1 second, I also got a premier game coming to you. Only one this week, so I'm going to throw in one other odd line game for you as well to just kind of dig into a little bit. So, going to get to all that in just 1 second. First, let me say thank you to subscribers. I appreciate it to the new ones. A couple joined here this last week and the week before, a couple more before that. Thank you so much for joining in. Hope you get the best out of this channel. Goal is to show you my picks as well as how I approach the capping side of things and bring about 20 years of experience in capping to the table. For those of you who are just getting going, a lot has changed here in the sports betting world, and so it's good to have someone who's done this for a very long time before it became mainstream. So it's kind of cool seeing it evolve. All right, so let's get into Week 13. First of all, let's go to the premier game. We're talking Penn State, Ohio State, number 8 versus number 2. This is really interesting dynamic on what is going on here as we sit on Wednesday. So Penn State, 9-1, going against undefeated, of course, Ohio State at the Shoe. What's interesting here is Ohio State at number 2. There's a big difference between number 1 and number 2 in the college football playoff this year because we know Clemson most likely is going to end up unbeaten and coming into this into the playoff. LSU most likely will be in there as well. Ohio State most likely will be in there as well. Both teams wouldn't mind going against the 4th place team, whoever that may be, whether it's Oregon, ends up being Georgia, ends up being Oklahoma or Utah. They would take that team against Clemson any day of the week. So number 1 is extremely important. So what does that mean for a team that's favored by 18 points here in Ohio State? That style points matter. So not only winning, but style points are going to matter. So this game is extremely important for Ohio State, not to just win, but really make a statement. Not that they haven't made a statement, and they're probably one of the only lines this week that if you were to give them that line every single week, they would have covered as an 18-point favorite in every game of the entire season. So, they don't lack style points. And, they have this game, then they have Michigan, then they have the conference championship game. I think Ohio State really has a strong case at that number 1 spot. But we'll see how LSU does here in their finale to their season as it winds down and then in the SEC championship game. Their defense is a little bit a suspect, which is where Ohio State, I think, has an edge. Now, in this game specifically, this is the toughest opponent that Ohio State has faced. Wisconsin, though, it was very close, and they ended up destroying Wisconsin, especially in the second half. If I were to take a betting angle on this, I think the best betting angle is to go with the 58 and go under. I think that's fair, but under in the first half I think would be best. I think Penn State with a lot on the line, and Ohio State playing conservative. I have seen them come out a little slower, at least in the first quarter. Second quarter they start scoring, but at that time, to get up to 29, I think is going to be too little too late. So I think in the first half going under would be the best angle at that game. Overall, whether they cover the 18 or not, I think this is a tough spot to cover the 18. But that said, you got to know you're going against 10 games that they did cover 18 or more in every one of those games, including the likes of Wisconsin, and the rest of the conference. So, personally, I'm going to stay away from it. If I had to make a play on the total game, it would be under the 58. But I'm going to go first half under the 29 as my best bet for that game, as far as that one goes. Not the best bet of the weekend, though, but best bet for that game. Let's talk about the best bet of the weekend. We got Louisville hosting Syracuse here. Now, Syracuse is 1-5 in conference in the ACC, and the very weak ACC. Interesting, though, they just come off a huge blowout win of Duke, 49-6 on the road. Now they have to go back on the road to Louisville and face a Louisville team that, by the end of the year, may see themselves at 8-4. And one of the better teams in the weak ACC conference. They're going to be in a distant second in the Atlantic side of the ACC behind Clemson, of course. but they definitely have the capability of covering a 10-point spread here. I think Syracuse is going to be off a nice high, sitting very good, knowing they just beat Duke and handled them quite well. Now they have to continue on the road here and face a Louisville team that is going to be a little bit better than most of the competition they've faced. Louisville has beaten Boston College in that run game. They beat Wake Forest. They beat Virginia, NC State. These are teams that Syracuse has had a harder time with, falling to Boston College by 31 points, falling to NC State by 6. So I think this is a good spot for a little bit more of a letdown from Syracuse and Louisville to lay the 10. I'm going with a favorite here, laying 10 at home against that Syracuse Orange team. So give me the favorite over Syracuse. Now I want to go to one more game here. That's my best bet of the weekend right there. I'm going to go to a game, though. It's a little interesting on this line, and that's Minnesota going to Northwestern. You got the 9-1 Golden Gophers going against Northwestern, which only has 2 wins. In fact, first half against UMass was concerning, to say the least. They end up winning 45-6 by turning it on in the second half. But that, a matter of fact, I think UMass had a lead in the first quarter as the first quarter was winding down. So it was actually fairly close in that one. But here we have PJ Fleck coming in, and the question is going to be, can these guys get up for this game? I picked the win by Iowa last week in Iowa. Now we're going another road game here, and they're only laying 13. Northwestern, their defense is fair. It's not a bad defense. However, 13 is not a number that they've been able to cover too often. So they've been great as an underdog. You got to be aware of Northwestern, but their offense is so incredibly bad that I think 13 is something that Minnesota can cover. I think Minnesota, after the first loss, is very difficult to get back up for a game, and they do have Wisconsin on deck here. So I just thought it was an odd line. I thought I'd go through and go through this game. I'll be curious to see where sharp money comes in at on this one. I believe it opened up at 11, was immediately pushed up to 13. But as the week goes on, I'm going to continue to check where the money's coming in at to see how that line adjusts and to see if it continues to go up, because that is definitely a game Minnesota can cover quite easily. However, the spot is not the best for Minnesota. They may just want to squeak out their win and move right on to that Wisconsin matchup coming the following week, which will be for the West in the Big Ten. So there you go. Best bet is going to be on Louisville. Also look towards the under of that Ohio State-Penn State first half. And then, just beware of this trap line with Minnesota minus lane 13 as a favorite. Northwestern can be tricky at home, and then also you got the Badgers on deck for Minnesota, so they may be looking ahead. So just be careful of that one. All right, good luck everyone this weekend. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. All my other picks, patreon.com/Phi Farley. You can check those out, patreon.com/Phi Farley. Good luck everyone. See you again soon.